It has taken me far longer than I would have liked it, but I finally got round to watching Pride of the Yankees. I've been desperate to watch this for such a long time. I really like baseball. I'm not that knowledgeable about baseball, but I like it, and I particularly like films about baseball. I'm not a Yankees fan, I'm a Red Sox fan, but still very excited to see what this was like and to see if it lived up to the hype. And for the most part, I think it did. This was released in 1942, directed by Sam Wood, screenplay by Joe Swerling and Herman Mankiewicz. And this stars Gary Cooper as Lou Gehrig, and we also have Babe Ruth as Babe Ruth, which I thought was pretty exciting. Walter Brennan plays Sam Blake. Really great cast. Definitely think Gary Cooper was right for the protagonist here. Now, I do want to say, first of all, I don't know that much about Lou Gehrig. I'm aware, before watching this, mainly from the reference in Friends, I was roughly aware of what this film was about when Phoebe goes off and on about how she didn't understand Lou Gehrig's disease and whatever. So I kind of knew roughly what it was about, but that actually doesn't come about for quite a while. A lot of the film is just a biopic of Lou Gehrig, and it starts off with him as a very young boy, and only for about 5 minutes do we get to see him as this young character. And I think that was a lovely way to start this, and then flash forward however many years, he is starting out his career as a baseball player, and it shows us the highs and the lows of that. I particularly enjoyed his mother's reaction to this, his mother's reaction to, obviously, her son wanting to play baseball. There was a moment where quite an emotional moment actually, where she said something along the lines of, "Your father's only a janitor and I'm only a such and such. We want you to, be successful." And I think that, if somebody says they want to become a professional sports star, I feel like it's the same thing as somebody saying they want to become an actor. You know that even if they're talented, the odds of them being able to be financially successful are not always there. Well, we get to follow Lou Gehrig and his career. I don't know how 100% accurate this is, so if you are a Yankees fan or a Lou Gehrig fan, please feel free to let me know. I'd like to know where they took creative liberties, or even if they used any real stock footage in this. I found it hard to distinguish any real stock footage because everything was kind of the same quality, given that this was 1942. But if you do know of any of that, do please let me know. I'd be very interested. It was quite long. Now, I mean, it's just over 2 hours. In theory, it's not that long. But I found that after about the first hour, the rest of it dragged a little bit more. The pacing kind of slowed down, and because I kind of roughly knew what was coming, I was thinking, when's this going to happen? When are we going to start to see symptoms of this or signs of this being on the horizon? And I think they could have chopped it up a little bit and took some stuff out. But then maybe if I was a big Lou Gehrig fan, there are certain aspects of his life that I would have needed to have seen represented, or would have enjoyed more. So I completely understand that I'm not 100% the target audience. Well, in some ways, I feel like biopics are aimed at the fans of that individual, and I feel like they're also aimed at people who have never heard of them or don't know anything about them to give them an education. I certainly fall into the latter category for the most part. As a baseball fan, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the baseball scenes more than I enjoyed pretty much any other scenes, apart from the scenes where Lou Gehrig was interacting with his mother. I thoroughly enjoyed those moments. It's a good film. I can see why it was successful. I can see why it is still successful. Needless to say, this is also an Oscar winner, which is one of the reasons why it's still popular. It won Best Film Editing, which actually the film editing is really good, particularly when we get to see like newspaper headlines, which kind of flash across the screen, and really capture the eye and engage us. The editing is very good, and I completely agree with that. It was nominated for pretty much everything else. Best Picture, Leading Actor, Leading Actress, Original Story, Screenplay, Cinematography, Black and White, Art Direction, Black and White, Sound Recording, Special Effects, and Music Scoring of a Dramatic or Comedy Picture. So it could have taken home quite a lot, but the one award I think is definitely deserved. I think it was worth the wait. It's never going to be my favourite film. I will probably never watch it again from start to finish. but there are certain bits of it that I really enjoyed that I would quite happily pick out and watch off my own back, if you like. I have to say, I prefer The Sandlot. If I had to pick a baseball film, I prefer The Sandlot, but or The Sandlot Kids, depending on when you watched it. But Pride of the Yankees, if you've been considering watching it, I definitely think you should give it a go. I think you'll really enjoy it. Stick with it when the pacing starts to slow down a bit. It's definitely worth it. And I'm glad that I finally got around to seeing it.